2016 Paralympic Games, and the wheelchair rugby is one of the final medals to be presented. This, of course, is match number 17, and it's Japan versus Canada in the bronze medal final. And the first, of course, and then the gold medal still to come. It has been an outstanding tournament, as this venue, the Karaoke #1 Arena, has been the host for the entirety of it. And there you see confirmation of the two sides. They, with their records upended after starting so well, both of them. But it's the final match of the preliminary round where they ultimately take on the two gold medal finalists that put a blemish on their record. They are 2 wins and 2 losses officially, both Japan and Canada. They go to extra time, the Japanese against the Americans, and they can't quite get it done. And equally for Canada in the preliminary round, they go deep against the Australians, and they ultimately find a way to beat them. They cross over 1 versus 2 in the semifinals. And unfortunately for both of these sides, well, they are contesting for bronze. But I shouldn't say unfortunate, really. Japan have never medaled before at the wheelchair rugby competition of these Paralympic Games. This is a relatively young tournament in the whole context of the Paralympics. It starts in 2000, and since the Canadians have all but that first one, they've medaled in each one of them. Can they, in fact, claim a bronze here in this one? Well, that's the next 32 minutes. These men will be in charge, the American official, Darren Roberts, and the Australian, Liam Costello. The officiating has been strong. It's been very solid throughout the entire tournament. I expect it to be exactly the same today, but this is the showcase. These, the number 3 and number 4 officially ranked teams in the world, doing battle for the bronze medal, and they are just about to be introduced in the arena. This, of course, is the Canadians, and there's Boletsky, the one female in this matchup. It's led out by Hirschfield, their number 10, and he has been reliable and stable, shall we say. The Canadians have overwhelming talent in Zach Medell. He is their number 33, averaging just under 35 goals a game. But a number 2 really to run with them is what they have at times lacked, that consistency to be that potent. But that man there, Whitehead, can be that player. And if he provides a target and equally an option for Zach Medell, he would favor maybe the Canadians to come through and take this bronze. But Japan, they have been peaking ever since their 4th place finish in London 4 years ago. They will equally have ideas about this bronze medal. They are in a good form as well, but they will be introduced here on the floor. That's Kevin Orr, the Canadian coach. And of course, it's not the medal that they wanted to be contesting for, but you get to this stage, you don't want to come away with that most difficult position, a 4th position. You want to have a medal. As of course this now, Japan coming out. Ike, their captain, he is such a stalwart. He works so hard with this man here, Daisuke Ikazaki. Those two are the 1-2 punch for Japan. And at times it looked as though they could hold fire with the Australians, the reigning Paralympic gold medal champions from London. But it's just a few turnover mistakes, management of the ball, that ultimately unhooks their wagon en route to trying to get to that gold medal match. They may be a little bit more hungry for this bronze medal than the Canadians. It's always a difficult one to tell. They are ready, though, and have been assembled in position as the white and red. They are the reigning Asia Oceanic champions in 2015, and they're their coach. That is, of course, Koshi Agino. So both teams officially introduced, the crowd building for this bronze medal match. It's now time for the playing of the national anthems. Both teams officially introduced and ready for this one. It's a bronze as the coaches will come and shake hands, and the respect has been throughout the entirety of this tournament to the athletes, the coaches, the officials, and equally the fans. They've been outstanding. With this one in a bronze medal match, it really is between number 3 and number 4 in the world. It could be a flip of the coin. Not sure how to call it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, bronze medal matches are so tough in the Paralympic Games. The teams will come here, they'll work so hard. They've gone close against the Australians and the Americans, and now it comes down to literally a playoff. Do you go home with a medal? Do you go home with nothing? Is 4th place what you have to explain back at home? And that's a difficult thing for these teams. The Canadians have been there, they've done it. They've got loads of experience throughout the team. Obviously, the Japanese have got a lot of international experience, but on the Paralympic stage, they've never medalled. I think the pressure is heaped more on Japan because of that than the Canadians. Obviously, Canada didn't win a medal at Sydney. It's the only time they haven't won a medal, 2 silvers and a bronze in their history. They will want to continue that run. The Canadians have got a proud reputation in this sport, as we all know, but for Japan, it's a bit all or nothing.
This, their lineup, it is going to be their number 7, Daisuke Ikazaki, to be looking out for, and their captain, number 21. Make no mistake of it, those 2 players really carry the business for this side. Coach Iagino knows that. He will run with them from the start. If he needs to make substitutions, he will. Shimakawa, number 13, and Nakazato, number 11. But this lineup here, it really is reliance around Zach Medell, the other real veteran of this side that has been in now multiple Paralympics competing for Canada, Michael Whitehead. They have 9 players returning from that squad that took silver in London, and Kevin Orr will look to that experience in this team to be differential in this one and to try to separate them with the Japanese. So the final moments, it's Wakayama, Ikazaki, Ime, and Ike. 7 and 21, the real tandem to be looking for Japan.
Yeah, they'll be looking to get over the goal line early on. Get a great start for Japan. And no real surprises for the Canadians.
Hurstfield's their captain, Samard and Medell. So Samard, a little bit of a different inclusion there maybe, but this, they've come with a different lineup, the Canadians. They're willing to do that. I think maybe as a result of that score that they take against the Americans, they just look to have a little bit of a twist maybe to this one, but Medell will be the player they count on. They all acknowledge one another. They have been in this tournament, but they have not met yet. This will be the first time, and it's in the bronze medal game. This is day 5 of the 5-day tournament and the final day of these Paralympic Games in Rio. It's the tip-off. It'll be taken by Ike, and he, the taller of the 2, comfortably takes it under control up to Ikazaki. And you'll note him, he's got those signature glasses, the great head of hair. He's already moving and creating some business here across the line. It'll be Ike, his teammate, to take it though across to Japan first.
Brilliant movement from Ike, but also great communication between the 2 players. You could see them talking to each other, setting the play, moving the Canadian defence around, and then opening the scoring.
This is Medell. It's a pretty easy one in response. He'll get a bunch of them today. He averages over 34 goals a game for Canada, and he starts proceedings for the North Americans.
Yeah, Medel just spotting the mismatch on Wakayama there and using his pace. Wakayama didn't have a chance at all to get anywhere near.
This is Ikazaki. He looks at this defense first of all. He elects to go inside. Ike is such a presence. He's got that height advantage. He must keep the wheelchair before crossing that line. He has to have the ball in his possession before he can record the score, or otherwise he's out of bounds. So he does a great job to control himself. Medel answers right back, and he scores for the Canadians.
Great movement by him there. It wasn't an easy score for Medel. Used his chair skills to get around the Japanese defense.
This is good play again from the Japanese, but they're going to get abruptly treated by the Canadians as they get close to this goal line. And it's Ikazaki that'll just pull it back out again and reset. So the offensive players have a maximum of 10 seconds in that scoring area, or otherwise the turnover foul. Ike, I think, is going to get in, but does he get pushed out just off that post? And it's awarded. You see the referee indicating with the arm, but it's often a gray area there, whether or not they do count it as continuous play or whether or not they would have assessed them as being out of bounds.
I thought the Canadian defense was almost perfect there. They kept Ike right out on the right-hand side, wouldn't let him in near the goal line, but eventually just sneaking over.
And up for Samard. He is the second scorer for Canada. He and Medel have split the 3 goals so far.
Averaging 4.3 goals per game, Samard.
And 12 seconds in which to get it over the halfway point. And Ike feeling as though time is running out. You see there's 31 seconds on their scoring clock. They have 40 seconds in which to do that. Take it from their inbound all the way down the floor to score. But they must get it over that center line in 12 seconds, or otherwise it's a turnover. And they use the 30-second timeout, Japan, to maintain possession, another inbound.
Interestingly, through the tournament, Canada have been the team that have turned over the ball a lot more times than the Japanese. On average, 4.5 turnovers per game more than the Canadians than the Japanese.
They've done enough here to pop it out for a second, but it's last touched by the Canadians. And Japan, again, will get this inbound, but they're still working with that original 40 seconds. But at least they've got themselves up over the halfway line now. Again, Ike just shows you how important that is for him to be able to elevate, particularly with 2 Canadians on him. This, the offload, right up front and into Ime. He records his first goal.
Ime with a fantastic finish there, but you really saw the ball handling skills of Ike in the end there, the former wheelchair basketball player, and he really got high and caused the Canadians problems with just the way he can move the ball and his great balance as well.
Look at Ike, and this is Ikazaki. This is Daisuke Ikazaki, who with the hot tamale puts that one right in the basket and across the line. This is Caldwell looking up just too early and leaves the ball open for him, and he just takes it, and it's a quick score for Japan. How impressive a steal.
Patrick Simard at the other end, just picking up the points for the Canadians, but Canada can't look away. Cody Caldwell looked away for a split second and it was gone from him.
Ikazaki will put it out to his running mates, and they have opened up this scoreline now. The first time that they have been ahead by 2. And the Canadians, at times, just ever so slightly have drifted in this competition. You saw that a little bit against the Americans. They need to be mentally sharp here. It's a long pass up to Medel, and it's easy work from there. He takes it across the line, and now Medel with a hat trick of goals in this opening 3 minutes of play.
Of course, a player with so much experience, Silverback in London. He'll be disappointed to drop down the podium here potentially.
It's up to Ike. He comes right back, and the Japanese looking comfortable in this one. But yes, of course, Great Britain's Jim Roberts, a dominant force as well in the sport, but equally the Japanese. Ike, this is his first Paralympics. Ikazaki was there in London. They relatively new to the sport. You talk about Ike coming across from being involved in basketball. They've never medaled though, Japan, and this is their golden opportunity.
Well, he was in that sport for 10 years. He spent a long spell of his career, you know, focusing on other things. But you can see here how that sport then translates in here. His chair movement's fantastic. He's a big, tall player. Look at how he's towering over the Canadians. He's really causing them some headaches here, Ike.
He is that central option as they get it in. It's Ikazaki who now takes it across the line. And this, you just get a feel between these two players right now that there hasn't been a whole lot of attention by the Canadians to trying to control those two. It's going to be difficult for them today, but it will be another Japanese score, and they are looking comfortable indeed. Medel. He'll work in the end. He gets it across, up to Cody Caldwell. He turns himself forward. And maybe a chance for Ike to get to him, but Caldwell had established position. He takes his first goal of the match.
Cody Caldwell, relatively new to this team. First Pan Am Games back in 2015. He'll be pleased to get a goal, settle the nerves.
Ikazaki, there's the contact on the arm from Medel. He just got around the corner on him, didn't he? And that will lead to now a 4-3 advantage for Japan on the floor. As Medel, well, they call that foul, but they don't remove him from the floor, so we'll just get the official call on it as it's a penalty goal. They just give it as by right, saying that Ikazaki was going to be taking the score anyhow, and rather than putting Medel in the penalty box, they just give it to Japan, but look at him answer right back in his fifth.
I was going to say, I'm not sure Japan will be overly pleased with that goal because he literally just strolled straight down the other end and rolled over the line for the goal.
A lot of work, particularly here, Ikazaki, in these opening minutes. He likes to play physical if they give him a chance, but he's just found another seam around the backside.
And the flip side of Ikazaki versus Ike is he's got the Paralympic experience. He's been there, done it. He was there in London. And you can see that he actually looks incredibly relaxed in this game. There don't seem to be that many nerves from him.
They've turned it over to Japan again. And this is Ikazaki, who, with the force on Caldwell, has just, in fact, lost that possession, and he has been more assertive to take it right back for Japan. They're on double digits, and they are looking to increase this score. It's into Ike, and there again, these two right now are looking like double trouble for the Canadians.
7 goals in 5 minutes for Ike. What a finish. Japan having a great time in this bronze medal match.
After their last couple of matches that they face against the Americans and the Australians, where they never really were in a position to be in front, this is good, solid play so far. But it's Medel who answers back. He brings it to 9 for Canada. 4 right now, stressing some urgency. And you can see a little bit in his eyes that he can see a problem ahead. Japan have asserted themselves with great strength and confidence to start this bronze medal match. And again, there is no answer for the height and the passing game of these two players.
Yeah, seemingly for the Japanese, it's all about the double trouble. And Canada at the moment, it's really just this man, Medel, who is getting ahead of the Japanese and using his pace to cause problems. Canada need a second option. They need a threat to force the Japanese defense to you know, spread across the court more.
And the top nations in the world that are competing in the semifinals, they are 1 through 4, the officially top-ranked teams in the International Wheelchair Rugby. United States 1, Australia 2, Japan 3, and Canada 4. And it is right now that top seed, 3rd position, Japan, putting on a little bit of a clinic the way they're scoring.
That was what we were just talking about there. You saw how they spread the Canadian defense. If the Canadians go in on a player, they go in on Ikazaki, then Ike has the space to score the goal. Great defense.
It is. It's up to Samard, but maybe unbeknownst to him, coming into position. The Japanese player takes that off the body, and this right back, it's Ime, and you can feel this right now. Japan, the fans are into it, and the players, even more importantly, they are too. You can get a sense that they've got a breath of fresh air about their play in this bronze medal match, and they have started the better, as again, they have scoring. It's across now 3 players in this matchup, as Ime again will get his second goal of the game.
1.3 goals per game for the competition, but he's already on 2 in the bronze medal match. Big players step up at big times.
So it's a timeout that has been called by the Canadians, and a 4-goal separation with 2:09 remaining in this opening period. We're seeing Kevin Orr, the coach, coming out and chatting with his young gun, Medel. He was 18 in London, 22 years of age, a bright future, and arguably with Riley Bat from Australia, 1-2 in the sport, but there really are a half a dozen players that on their day in this wheelchair rugby, they can dominate and they can equally be a little bit better than the other. But Riley Bat has been the most consistent, you would say. He's been involved in the sport since 2003, and he's only 27, so you can do the math. As Boletsky, a female player, now out onto the field of play for Canada. Hirschfield, the captain, in the box. And 4 against 3, Japan, pretty much a guarantee to score from here. And it'll be Ikazaki again. He now, with his 3rd goal only, he's made the great passes so far into Ike, who has carried the lion's share of the offense.
And sensible there as well, because he knew they had a comfortable cushion at the moment, deliberately wasting a few seconds. He didn't go straight over the line, he just waited and waited and then went over the goal line. Sensible from Japan, trying to control the game here and reduce the amount of time that man has, Medel, to get a goal.
And he has done it. He burst through the traffic a little bit. But again, as each score from Medel comes in, you wonder where will the secondary scoring come from for Canada in this matchup to make sure they can keep pace with the Japanese. And the upended player, the Japanese player, is there needing some support to get back upright, and these chairs so heavy in wheelchair rugby, they need the officials to come from the bench to help these athletes back up.
Yeah, also the level of impairment makes it quite difficult for them to flip the chair back up, and seriously, you see them put the mat down to protect the court. Okay, but Medel, what a hit that was. Really was a crunching hit on the number 15, Kotaro Kishi, the 44-year-old. Well, he might be aching slightly in the morning.
Full contact is wheelchair rugby, and these players, all of them, well, they wouldn't play it unless they love it. It's skillful, it's fast, it's got a blend of most any sport you can think of, this wheelchair rugby. I think rugby more of a brand of a legitimate sport name to try and encapsulate a hybrid of American football, handball, basketball, hockey. You could even say there's some athletics in there, the way they will sprint up and down the floor against each other. You will really see the individual speed of these players at times, particularly when they haven't got the ball or they've got it in their lap and they can really drive with both arms to generate speed. But we are inside the last minute of this opening period. It's Medel again, and he will be poised here. He's got a dozen for Canada, and that will be his 9th.
The mobility of the former sled hockey player really coming to the fore there for Medel. What a star he is for his team, but he's going to have to really set fire in this bronze medal match if he's going to reduce this Japanese lead.
Ike and Ikazaki, they really do have a great sense for one another. They are tall players, they're great targets, but they move so well, and they understand this game increasingly so. They will try and manage these remaining seconds.
They work the ball a lot better than the Canadians. Canada, a lot of it's about the fast break to pick up goals where Medel gets ahead of the Japanese defence. But the Japanese are actually, that's a brilliant, and again, wasting time and then eventually goes over. But they work the goal all the time. They're making the Canadians move. They're using up the clock as well into a 5-point lead now.
There is time for a score, but Medel has carried the lion's share, and he continues to do so. A long ways to get there. He will just in time. but the ball will always move quicker than the wheels. Zach Medell, so much work to do to get to his double-digit scoreline for himself personally in that opening period, and he will be able to go the distance, no doubt of that, but there needs to be more support for him offensively for Canada. And after the opening 8 minutes, it's officially a 4-goal lead for Japan. 17 for the Asians, and Canada with 13 after the opening 8.
And look at the statistics, 17-13 the score, no offensive fouls so far, 3 defensive fouls from the Canadians. They've turned over the ball 4 times, we mentioned it before the game, they do tend to turn over a lot of ball. The Japanese have stole 4 times as well, and they've got a 4-point lead. They've spread their point scoring, as you say. It makes a huge difference because Japan at the moment are proving a real handful for this Canadian defence. Japan, such a proud rugby nation, both in the Paralympics and of course, well, the Rugby Union World Cup last year. They beat the Springboks. It meant the world to the Japanese, and they want to get a medal here. The Wheelchair Rugby of Rio 2016 to finish off the last day, to get one over on the Canadians as well. What would that mean to them?
This, the bronze medal match, and the second period awaits the crowd building inside Karaoke #1 Arena, as it has been for the entirety of this tournament and across the Paralympic Games. 14,500 is the capacity, probably at the halfway point and building. Of course, the gold medal match as well, but these Brazilian fans, they come in numbers, constantly filling up the seats. It'll be Medell who takes it for Canada, and he tries to force himself through. Ikazaki tries to just equally get the hand on the ball to make it a 50-50 that would ultimately go to the possession arrow, but Medell again opens up the scoring for Canada.
You had to feel that wasn't greatest defending by Japan. They just needed to close the gap on him a little bit more and he wouldn't have had any way through the 2 chairs. Great defence there by the number 8, Michael Whitehead.
Well, he's forced the Japanese to call a timeout. Whitehead, who is a veteran of this side, now in his 4th Paralympic Games with Canada. And the 40-year-old, when he comes on and he is playing to his full potential, he can be that player that runs with Medell, and he provides that physical presence as well. He's been able to reach in here, and it'll be just disrupted for a moment, but Ikazaki, Japan will maintain this inbound.
Very important role for Whitehead today. A player who started in 2000, played his first Paralympic Games in 2000 when rugby entered the Paralympic Games for the first time. And he brings a calm head to proceedings for the Canadians, and that's really what they need right now.
It's Ikazaki who will score again. That's his 5th goal today for Japan.
And interestingly here, the Canadians have changed their tactics. They've brought Whitehead on to offer that second option, which we spoke about. And there he goes over the goal line. It works for them.
That's his first, Whitehead, who is that tall target like Ike is for Japan. And the important number 2 on this side will get things going for himself offensively. It's up now to Nakazato, and Medell a little bit more aggressively defensively. But Japan, again, are finding different routes out of their own end. And this is going to be Kano to go across the line. Another player involved for Japan. They have 4 different scorers in the match so far.
Yeah, an average of just 1.5 goals per game in this competition. But he gets a very important goal and keeps the lead. 4 points clear for Japan.
Medel very relaxed. He can put it inside now. Whitehead always an option. He doesn't have to force it, and that is part of the respite he gets with a player like Whitehead out there for him. And over a short tournament like this, 5 games in 5 days, even though Medel is young at 22 in relation to a lot of players in the sport, there's a big hit coming in from Hirschfield. And again, it's Cano. He comes and forces a little more pressure there. That's better from the Canadians defensively to reduce that time and space.
Yeah, what an impact Whitehead's had. What an impact that was. Wow, great hit by the number 10, Hirschfield, the captain. But the impact that it's had is it's actually freed up Medel to have sort of a more inventive role in the game instead of just the fast breaks all the time. You see it there. They created the play, the gap opened up and through he went. It's much more inventive and sort of it's making the Japanese defense think.
He's got a dozen now, Medel. And just showing a different side of his game with the ball distribution here, with more of an option maybe with Whitehead now on the floor. It's over to Ikazaki. He uses his force too. He will love to drive into the opposition. He equally loves to score, and boy does he love to race, as you can see him flying down the field of play. Medel just stretches back before he approaches. He's turned it over here. Ikazaki will just gobble this up, and the halfway point of the floor, he has total possession. He's on his own, and he waits just for the Canadians to catch him up before he scores.
Canada don't need to rush this. They don't need to force it. They were coming into that game really, or coming into the game really, really nicely again there. But Medel just got a bit overexcited. He forced the play, and the Japanese gobbled it up when the chance came.
Again, it is Medel that will drive the ship here right now. You see how the Japanese, when he has a little bit of a moment just to think, puts the ball in his lap. They are trying to get to it, and it's not totally protected. Of course, he's got a crossbar across the front of his wheelchair, and I think it's the Canadians who leave the field of play first. And what's happening here is they found a way to not only irritate Medel, but to be distracting. Every time he thinks he's calm and in possession, the Japanese are searching for that ball.
The Japanese aren't getting drawn in defence too much either. They're actually sitting back. They're allowing the Canadians to come towards the goal line and make their play. And all they're waiting for is that one little slip from Medel. And if he makes the slip, which he has done twice now in, is it 3 plays, 4 plays, suddenly, there go Japan, and they could go 5 points clear again here. PK waiting.
And it will be Daisuke Ikazaki all the way. He's got 7. His running mate, the captain, Yukinobu Ike, has 10. And so they continue to run really in pace with each other offensively. They are equally a threat, and the Canadians have to respect them both.
We've spoken about them in attack today and how impressive they've been, but I think the way the Japanese have weathered this Canadian storm in this second period has been really quite an awesome achievement by them. Canada looked like they were coming right back into it.
Medel will go the long way around, and in doing so, he brings this second period level on 5 goals apiece. And they were looking in control for a moment, but strong return play from Japan has reestablished this 4-goal lead, and they have possession. It's out front and just in time. It looks from the angle that you'll see, and there it was. That was the extension for Ike to get to that ball, as it was so well advanced for him from Ikazaki. By the time he scores it here, a little bit of a bump maybe from Medel, and he just corners a little too hard, and he ends up falling in the end zone.
Yeah, originally I thought he may have actually really hurt himself here, because it wasn't the nicest of angles that he fell on. What pace though to get there, just getting the ball in time. What a game he's having. 11 goals so far.
And of course, for Ike, a medal in Rio would be in honor of his fallen friend. He lost his life in the motorcycle accident where he now has an impairment as a result when he was 19 years of age. So in the memory of his friend, he hopes to win a medal in Rio. Right now, Japan are poised with the 4-goal margin with just over halfway to go in this second period. It's been dislodged again. Who does last touch it? I think it may be a Japanese possession. Ask Ogino, the coach for Japan. He will tell you so.
Hirschfield was in there disrupting, and that was really good defense by the Canadians. They may not have got the ball back, but they stopped the Japanese sort of setting the play and using that pace of this man, Anike.
Ikazaki, he can turn on a sixpence. He has forced Hirschfield right out of the field of play, and that really a matter of course. And they're going to count it as a goal for Japan rather than a penalty against Hirschfield, which it is effectively, but he won't sit it down as he makes the inbound there. And again, it's that 5-goal margin for Japan. But Medel will just break through out of the backfield. And like a running back in American football, he is finding all the holes for Canada right now in his Japanese defense. But he can't carry the ball exclusively.
International debut back in 2011 for Medel. Can he get his team back into this one? The Japanese, well, we said they had almost more to lose in this game with them going for their first ever bronze, but they've settled brilliantly in this first half. Second quarter now.
Ike with the decoy of an attempted pass, pulls it down. They must bounce it or pass it within 10 seconds to keep the ball live. 20 seconds on their scoring clock. And Ikazaki, he is patient, he is confident as well. And this is Medel, who is just by an inch, I believe, just left the field of play. And they're going to call this one as a penalty, where he's going to actually effectively come off, and it will be 4 against 3 now for Japan with the numerical advantage.
This is going to really test the Canadian defense with 3 players against the pace of Ikazaki and Ike. And again, the Japanese just spreading the defense, creating the holes.
They've locked up Chan now on the floor on the far side. And what you see is players who are just trying to restrain and control each other over in front of the Canadian bench. And Ikazaki is just working the clock. They will gladly keep Zach Medel off the floor for as long as they can. This is now game management 101 from Japan. Whoop, he just for a second, I think, was worried about bouncing the ball and just got a look at the clock there again out of the corner of his eye and realized he needed to get across the line.
Slight panic. But, you know, as you say, keeping Medel off the court for as long as they can is important, but equally for Japan, they needed the goal too.
He's wide open again, and really, he is the long option, and in the most so far in this one, the only option other than the short game in that offensive zone area to Whitehead. And this for Canada may in fact be their challenge for a bronze medal. Another score that can just take away some of the threat, and it's not so much the responsibility and the energy and the fatigue for Medel so much, it's the attention that he warrants from the opposition, because they don't have to respect the other players to the same degree as they do the Canadians. This man, Ike, and Ikazaki for Japan.
Ikazaki just turned around, didn't take the goal himself, smashed into Medel. You know, and every hit takes some energy out of you. And these players thrive on contact.
And there is a different score. This is Patrice Dagenet, the co-captain. Hasn't had a lot of time in this tournament, but he comes out and he presents a little bit of a different look for Canada.
First goal of the competition for him.
Ikazaki is across in 12. The advancement of the ball is so precise and just before the line. Again, it's Ime, and he now has a hat trick of goals for the Japanese.
Way above his average goals for this Paralympic Games. Over double what he's done so far What a bronze medal match this is for Ime at the moment.
And this is Chan, what a play. He is another one of these players for Canada all the way back to 2000 when this, wow, he's riding the rail. And he will, in the end, come unstuck. But that for a moment, just a little bit of extra drama for the Canadian fans. Dagenet tries to dazzle with another score here. And I think he gets both wheels officially. And then he's up catwalking across the line. But are they going to upend him in time? And we'll just see officially how that comes out as we come up. We'll just look at the play-by-play system, and they're just going to call it a penalty goal. So while the score goes on the board, officially for Dagenet, he doesn't get credit for the goal. It's a team goal, but he takes the brunt of the force and equally of that fall. He's getting himself corrected and upright now. All part of a day's work in wheelchair rugby.
I was going to say, Ike, just, you know, reminding him of the importance of this one. There's no I in team. And off he goes without the goal to his name, but he won't mind. The Canadians back to 4. Within shout of the Japanese still.
The double team there from Whitehead and Medell on Ikazaki, and then Ike still an option. Valetsky out there allows the Canadians another 0.5 on the floor. So they're a total of 8.5. Japan measuring up to 8.0, but it's Ikazaki. It doesn't matter how many .5s or numbers. It's all about his will to cross that line.
The precision of Ikazaki there to get through that Canadian defence. There really wasn't that much room, and he just weaved his way through. It really was magical chair skills by him.
Medell, he responds. That's his 17th goal. And the next for his team is 2. So that again just shows you how much is relied upon Zach Medell to provide the scoring for Canada. It's across to Ike, and he just establishes enough position with his speed, gets ahead of Whitehead, but Whitehead has done enough with a bumper on his chair there to try and anchor him in the center of this offensive zone. But he's tough to control exclusively. He goes up and just allows Ikazaki with this interchange between one another to have Medell effectively chasing his shadow. And Valetsky is there with him, but it's across for Ikazaki again.
Some fantastic blocks and picking by Ike there. First, he picked off Whitehead and then he made the gap again. The Japanese really couldn't have started better in this game. What a game they're having, and that was brutal from Medell.
Like a battering ram, and he was doing the 50-yard dash in what is a significantly shorter distance, this overall field of play. He rams across to keep it within 4, but a 4-goal lead with teams of this quality at this level, and possibly a bronze medal for Japan. This could prove pivotal. They take the advantage into halftime. It's Japan 29, Canada 25 in this bronze medal game.
Yeah, defensive fouls, a lot more from the Canadians. They need to watch those in the second half. They've turned over the ball 6 times to Japan's 1. Well, that really isn't good stuff for Canada. Penalties 7-2 as well. The Canadians need to tighten their discipline up in the second half. They need to bring Whitehead into the game as much as they can, because it will free space up for Medell. They're chasing the game, they're chasing the bronze.
And you can see the seats pretty well full up now inside Karaoke Number Arena. It is going to be a little bit of a pause here. Officially, it's a 5-minute break, some entertainment as well. These fans have loved it. And right now, these Canadians, well, they're not loving this scoreline, but there is another 16 minutes still to go in this bronze medal match. We'll be back in just a moment. And the third period awaits as it is Japan to take the inbound. They have the 4-goal lead. They've worked well over the opening periods. They established a 4-goal lead in that first period, and then they tied with a dozen apiece in the second. And there the scoreline. And the crowd has been worked up at halftime. They're ready to support this bronze medal match. It's still available to the Canadians. This isn't an unassailable lead. They can come back, but they've given up this opening score to Shimakawa. Now a new player on the floor for the Japanese. That's his opening goal. And there the Brazilians watching by. They want to learn from every little bit they can take in at this top level tournament. They were officially number 19 in the world, their ranking coming in. But boy, did they put on a show for everybody who's been watching the wheelchair rugby.
Shimakawa comes in with 6.8 goals per game in the tournament so far. Aiki gone out for now.
Ikazaki again is showing you just how willing they are. That's definitely a part of their coaching plan. As Medell will take it across for another score again for the Canadians. He now has 18. And this crowd is pretty much full now to capacity. 14,500. This is the first and an early riser in Rio De Janeiro, the bronze medal game. It's Ikazaki, though, again, right across, full flow, and the wind in his hair. This could be a moment for him.
Whitehead having to work hard to break down the Japanese defense. He does well. Oh, huge hit.
And Ikazaki lowers the boom, and the G-force of that hit on Hirschfield will have been felt on the Canadian bench. He comes across, and it's probably as good a run of about 25, 30 feet. And I would hazard a guess he's probably at about 15 miles an hour there. Right into Hirschfield, and he will be removed from the floor.
Hirschfield playing for since 2004 at the international level. He'll have had a few tough hits in his time.
And there is Medell, who converts that. And Ikazaki is now back out, and we haven't seen this type of flurry yet from Ikazaki, but you're starting to see it in this particular match, where he can just become an unstoppable force out there, and equally starts to play with some more physicality as he just uploads it to Shimakawa. He's across the line for a pair.
The worry for the Canadians here is with Shimakawa coming in and obviously working well for Japan alongside Ikazaki, they've still got Aiki to come back in as well. That's going to worry the Canadians because Canada are going to be constantly working, but Japan can switch it up.
Shimakawa has been playing this sport since '99, but it wasn't until 2004 that Japan has competed at the Paralympic Games level in Athens. So he, after Athens, spends a number of years in America playing, but an important option here for the Japanese to come out and deal with this man here, and at least if they can't stop him, provide another offensive threat.
He might have a Paralympic Games or two to come.
I would say so. And that is Gouvet, the coach. And on the right, the man there, the Julio Braz. What a dynamo, the pocket rocket for Brazil. He has really burst onto the scene of wheelchair rugby after coming across as a handball player for Brazil at national level, and just last year in preparation for these wheelchair rugby games. And he lit this building alight in performance for Brazil. But it is Japan who get the bounce taken away from them, and it will still be in their retention for the inbound.
Great intensity by the Canadians. They're not giving up. Why would they? Whitehead has the experience. He knows what these games are all about, and he knows that there are important passages of play in this third period. If Canada can get back within, say, 2, they've got every single chance of really making the Japanese sweat going into the fourth.
Ikazaki with too much speed, too much control. It's contact on the arm. He'll get the goal. That's what counts. And again, it's a 5-goal lead for the Japanese team, and they're looking good with each possession.
Those chair skills just too good for Hirschfield. Stroke of luck there as well.
And luck there, as you say, more by luck than design. It goes off of the wheel of Hirschfield, but Medell is in good position. He supports the ball so well. He converts it now for a 21st goal for Canada. Oh, that's like a the winter roads of Canada, the way he slid out there. Needs a little bit of salt on the roads, or equally maybe a little bit of chain on his tires, but it is a great play across, and they go in the backside, just slipping inside the right post, and Japan continue to establish this 5-goal lead.
Adele will race down court for one more for Canada, but at the moment you really wonder where they're going to get the turnovers from, because the Japanese are just working this Canadian defence. They're keeping them moving. We said they've got options. They look to me like they've got more options than the Canadians have at the moment, despite Whitehead coming in and playing well.
This is Whitehead trying to be the first on the forecheck here and putting a little bit of a press against this Japanese team. But they have found Shimakawa to the backside, and the advancement of the ball is proving the real key to unlock the door of this Canadian defense.
Yeah, Beletsky there had no answer in defense.
This the southpaw delivery all the way up from Adele to Hirschfield, and he, the captain, will score this one, and that's his first goal.
35-31, Japan lead, 4:55 left in the third. And the Canadians, with their reputation and the medals they have, but they're there for the taking. Canada against Japan here.
This is very confident play from Shimakawa. He hasn't had a lot of duty in this tournament, in fairness. Probably a reduced role with Ike now on this Japanese side, running as shotgun with Ikazaki, but he has come in here and provided very valuable minutes. And the score continues to tick over. And also, oh, this one will be last touch, and you say it right there, the Canadians get a hand on it.
And the Canadians protected their key much better there. They were much narrower, and it was similar to what Japan were doing to Canada in the last quarter. They were protecting the goal line, they were making them move the ball, and they were forcing the error. And well done to Canada there for getting their defence. The intensity and just the structure was much better.
So an opportunity here to take a bite out of this lead. They have never led in this match yet, Canada. And right now, again, they are dead level in this third period as far as overall output. And they could, with this score, take the lead and start to chip away. Waddell throws up the left hand, almost an indication of a decoy there. He barges right through the Japanese defense, and he's brought it within 3.
Brings it within 3, uses his power. He's going to smash once more into Ike, who will know all about that. Lovely pass.
Oh, and it will just slip away again. Ikazaki's trying to get up with it, and at the right time, Waddell just catches his back wheel and throws him into the bench. And that now could be a little bit of a disruption to this Japanese flow. As Mattel, when he plays physical, he can equally cause problems for any team in this tournament. And he's just done back-to-back plays that has created this Canadian momentum.
You talk about disrupting the Japanese flow. It'll be interesting to see what Koichi Hojino does there. How he brings his team back together. What can they do? Will he use a timeout? What will he do to just get them to calm back down? They had this game by the scruff of the neck, and they're just letting it slip slightly now.
Whitehead will bounce it to keep it alive. Beletsky is an option. She needs to come in and screen though for him, because they're trying to get it to Medel. What he does is he ends up forcing a foul against Ikazaki. He chats with Ike about it, because he'll make his way now over to the penalty box. And they talk about how they need to approach the strategy of this man advantage now for Canada.
And the body language of Ikazawa there spoke volumes. He just walked, he rolled away to the sidelines, just sighing. You saw him look at the screen and sigh, and you could almost hear it, you know, despite how far away he is from us.
It's Medel who will score that one. That's the 33rd. It's its 24th goal. And this now, as we think about it, Canada, I believe, started with possession to inbound on this third period. And just thinking ahead to the fourth period, where there may be an opportunity there. But this is a timeout now where they are back to 4-on-4 action. And things have just tightened up in the bronze medal match for sure.
Of course, interestingly, both teams have been involved in one-point games in this competition at the Paralympic Games. For Japan, well, they lost theirs 57-56 to the USA. The Canadians, the wily old Canadians, they won theirs, of course, against Great Britain 50-49. Will that come into play? Is it the old heads? Is it psychology? The Japanese, as you look on at number 7, Daisuke Ikazaki, what a game he's had so far for 10 points, but it's just slipping slightly for Japan, their dominance on the game.
And in those tight games against Great Britain, Canada able to get the victory. They come up a little bit short in their last match, though, against the Australians when they had to go as well to extra time. So this entirely a very interesting prospect for these two teams to see just how things are going to roll out from here. Ikazaki and Ike up there. And it's Whitehead with Medel as the 1-2 punch. And these are their most potent lineups for both respective teams.
Well, it was brilliantly done there by Ikazaki, but you have to slightly question the Canadian defence there. They didn't get close enough together, the two players, and he just picked a way through somehow.
Medel just turns and drives it. He will put it into his lap and stroll across the line again. It's ultimately going to come down to play without the ball now for Canada. That is going to determine whether they can really cause some panic in this Japanese side.
25 points from Medel.
And Ike will wrap it up like his most prized possession, and the way he looks after that ball could in fact reward him with a bronze medal at the end of it. They are just over 10.5 minutes away from that, the way they're playing our Japan. But things getting tighter as Medel answers right back with another score. And again, it's within 2. Medel has just grabbed this game right now and is dragging this Canadian team with him.
He's got double the goals of anyone else on the court today. 26 goals. The Japanese have got the options and they've split their scoring. And Medel, what a game.
Ikazaki right back as well, though, for Japan. And it almost looks as though these heavyweights are happy to trade goals with each other. They know that they're good enough and capable enough and have enough experience to manage the games in tight quarters. Whitehead will receive the attentions of 2 of the Japanese players, Ikazaki as well, alongside him, Wakayama. Hirschfield just tries to stretch out this defense, goes long. And now Medel just looking, searching, scanning across this Japanese defense. He will just again muscle through, take the channel available, and it's another Canadian score, and they are looking calm in doing so. They have the lead in this third period, 11-9, and with this score here from Ike right back, it'll just be within 1 in this spell of 8 minutes.
The longer Japan can stay ahead, the more Canada have to chase the game. The more Canada have to chase the game, potentially the more turnovers will come. They're susceptible to them. And also the more gaps in the defence from the Canadians that could open up as they go in search of that bronze.
Whitehead in control of the ball, up to Medel. It's a very comfortable score indeed. Slow, deliberate, but ultimately well executed. And the scoreline again, just a pair of goals, the difference. Getting to Ike early, Hirschfield and Beletsky, they both electing not to try to 2-on-1 him. Ikazaki could score near that near side. He opens it up to the backside. This is about trying to manage the score clock and the game clock right now. Inside this last minutes of the third period, and then he bursts through.
One thing you notice with Ike is exceptional at protecting the ball. He gets right across the ball. He keeps managing. He's still pushing, but he's protecting the ball at all times. You've seen the Canadians trying to steal all they can, but from him, it's very hard to do so.
So 30 seconds on the score clock, and Medel suggests that they're going to slow things down. They'll want to score, and then they're going to look for a hold at the end of this third period of play. And that's assuming that they can score with this possession. Japan are back, all 4 in weight.
What's the betting? He's going to try and whiz around the left-hand side and get in the back door there.
And they're going to go to a timeout option. So it resets the clock to 15 seconds on the score clock. Officially 25, as you can see on the game clock. In this right now, an exercise from the Canadians in control and reduction of time available to the Japanese. But you can count on Medel as he goes across to chat with Orr, his coach, to score. There's never any doubt of that. It's just how are they going to defend against this Japanese team when they have the ball?
Kevin Orr doesn't look completely relaxed to me. There was a big puff of the cheeks and a sigh from him. Stressful being a coach.
And they've used a couple of timeouts here. They had them in the bank, and that was the direction from his coach. So he comes over for some hydration and equally to towel off. So 15 more seconds will come, and they'll just try to maximize it, get within 2 at the end of 24 minutes.
The tactics from the Canadians, clever stuff.
This is Ikazaki right up against Medel. And the option will be inside to Whitehead. He knows that. Backside to Beletsky. That's marvelous with 0.2 remaining in the third period. And what a score for her. Miranda Beletsky, the first ever women to perform in a gold medal match at the World Championships, is here in the bronze medal match, and she scores a monster goal for Canada.
She averages 0.3 goals in the competition, and she picks up a goal in this one. 2 points the difference at the end of the third. Canada will come out and put pressure on Japan, and if they slip up early on, it's anyone's game.
Officially the score, it is Japan 40, Canada 38 at three-quarter time. And this is a reflection across the game so far.
Oh, look down at the bottom. Penalties, 9 for Canada, just the 4 for Japan. I said Canada's discipline needed to improve. Well, they haven't turned over the ball as much in the game in that third quarter. Still 6 for the game, and that man, Medel, played the last few seconds absolutely perfectly to bring his team back within 2 and to try and answer Ikazaki, Shimakawa, and of course Yakinobu Aiki as well. And there is Aiki, the number 21. Those 3 options for Japan have yielded the most points, but Medel has yielded 1 or 2 himself.
It's a capacity crowd in Rio. These Paralympic Games have been an overwhelming success, and the wheelchair rugby competition is coming into its final day. Equally are these Paralympic Games, and it has been a tremendous wheelchair rugby tournament. Number 3 against number 4 in the world are contesting for bronze. It is Japan with the lead by 2, Canada with the inbound to start this 4th and what could potentially be the final period of action. It is the top gun for Canada, Medel, to take the opening possession. And they're going to count that forward. So interestingly there, he actually, I think, loses the ball. Well, just from our vantage point, seeing it, they count it as a goal on our system officially, yet to see on the graphic. But we'll just look for clarity on the official play-by-play system. He's kind of confused. They're going to call it a timeout. So we'll watch it again from a better angle. And it goes off the chair of EK at the end. And we saw a difficult call for the Canadians against the Australians earlier in the tournament, where actually Zach Medel was being chased by Riley Batt. and he did a good enough job to get the ball back off the chair of Riley Bat before he left the field of play, and the referees don't get the benefit of replay. They assessed it as last touch by the Canadians. They were very sharp on that one because it did go off the wheel of Ike Last before leaving the field.
It's good defense by Ike though. He showed the line to Medel as Whitehead goes over.
And it's a quick strike. So they utilize this opening possession in the fourth period, and they have cut it to 1. And things are getting interesting indeed.
This is a huge play because if Canada can stop the Japanese here, they've got the possession. I don't think they're going to though. Beletsky do well. She can't quite get that.
It's Ikazaki who scores again for the Japanese, and he has the lion's share. Well, actually, he and Ike share it almost equally. The two of them working together. He's got himself a baker's dozen with 13 does Ikazaki. 15 for his running mate as it's Whitehead. Will go over the top. That's a dangerous play. He's forced the issue there. And how quick the pass back, so precisely given. That is a sense that these two athletes for Japan have for one another. That's a moment to remember.
The balance of Ike there was superb. He really, you could see that he'd played basketball before. He reached across, grabbed the ball, sent it straight back. What a play from Ike. And Japan can go 3 ahead once more.
And Ikazaki across the line, he slams it down with authority as well. He suggests he didn't mean to overcook it, ref. No unsportsmanlike call against, but he feels good about that one. They've reestablished what is a 3-goal lead now in that sequence, and that could be a blemish that might just be too much to overcome for Canada. They've got a 3-on-1 here, and Whitehead will get to 40 goals.
Ike had no option there at all. Whoever he went to, the other player was almost certainly going to score. In the end, he just had to let it happen.
The Canadians are back. Hirschfield thrashes out his left hand, then tries to pick his pocket. Whitehead is big enough and heavy enough to prevent Ikazaki's entrance on this side. Ike will have to go around the end, but Hirschfield has ushered him the other direction, and they are equally able to find it. Whichever way you want to slice it, they can dice it. The Japanese will score a 43rd. Whitehead taking a little bit of a bumpy road to try to get this ball across the center line. It'll be Medel, who is forced, first of all, by Ike and Norimatsu, but he comes out of that little bit of a fray. He scores again, and he's got 29 goals for himself of these 41 now for the North Americans.
It is an amazing performance from Medel. 3 defensive fouls, couple of turnovers.
It's gone long out for Ike, but he's in good enough position. He holds his line. You see that he is a little bit top heavy. He's got the impairment in his lower limbs as well, but he recovers his balance. He's so extensive to reach for the ball. We've seen that in the last few passages of play. But Medel right back again. And even though they've given up that chance, that pass intended from Whitehead to Medel that turned the score over, he's on 30. It's still enough time for a mistake to be made by the Japanese. They're going to need to, though, Canada, find a little bit more pressure against from here. Inside to Norimatsu, and he's wide open. Beletsky isn't going to be able to recover in time. And for him, that's another new score for Japan. They have 6 different scores in this match.
Great team goal there, though, because although Ike didn't get the goal, he went up, he helped out Ikazaki. Whitehead there goes over for the Canadians.
And you see what it means to the world's media in attention here courtside. All of the Japanese cameras looking to capture a moment where they claim bronze, their first ever medal potentially awaiting for Japan in the wheelchair rugby. It's Norimatsu again. He now has a pair for the Asian side.
2 in very quick succession for Norimatsu. He's averaging 2.8 goals per game for the competition so far. Lovely turn from Medel. Super pace. He's got Hirschfield with him.
And it's that crazy 8 movement from Zach Medell as he winds and twists and turns, and he doesn't need a lot of space in which to create an opening. He again across the line. And what he needs now more than anything, he's got Whitehead coming in, putting pressure on. This is good play, but Medell cannot get to Ikazaki in time, and you want to catch him early. But he'll throw on the brakes and settle things down for Japan. The Canadians much more forceful now. But it's hurrying up to wait right now as he waits for his opportunity, and patience pays off for Ikazaki. A lane, he exploits it, and to 47, Japan will travel.
I was surprised there the Canadians split their defense. Beletsky was actually up with the other 3 and they were quite high. She dropped off back towards the goal line and it opened up the opportunity for Ike to take advantage, and you saw him go and hit Beletsky, and the Japanese got the goal.
In, again, good position for Medell. You see how he dominates the scoreline for Canada, and it always brings that question when you see the equal distribution between the 2 Japanese players, whether or not you, of course, aren't stronger with that balance in your lineup. It's proving a slight margin right now for Japan. This is Ikazaki, who with a couple different moves has had to slow it down. He goes back out to his number 2, and these 2 players interchangeable as to who really is the dominant force. Inside, right back in the tall number 21, takes it again. Their captain for Japan. They have a 3-goal lead.
Fans are absolutely loving this. He's not. He's looking rather stressed at the moment. Canada going to miss a medal for the first time since Sydney. 5 Paralympic Games, that is. 5 Paralympic Games, 4 in a row.
And the timeout has been called here by Japan. Officially, they've come across. It's 60 seconds that they will utilize now. And Orr has gone across to the scorer's bench to indicate his substitutions. Ikazaki is getting buckled in for the storm about to come of 3:29 in this 4th period.
Well, the Canadians in the stands look quite calm and relaxed and like they're having fun. I'm not sure the Canadians on court or just on the sideline on the Canadian bench will be quite so jovial, really. Very, very tense, this one.
It is the top gun for Canada, and uncontested, they will let him go through. You sometimes wonder whether or not that is a game plan, because as long as Medell is scoring, he isn't generating the other options on his side to be activated, who are going to have to play a part in changing the scoreline.
Yeah, it surprised me that the Japanese defence, 2 of them just sat on the left-hand side of the goal line, made no effort to get to Medell, as you say, and obviously just accepting that that's how it's going to be, but they're going to stay ahead. And they could go further ahead here if Ike can get through. He can't. Great defence that time by Medell.
Around the backside, Ikazaki is able to navigate and negotiate his way for a 17th goal for Japan. And again, they reestablished that 3-goal margin.
We said great defence by Medell, and it was, but it was Ike was keeping him entertained, and that opened up the gap. The pace wasn't then there from the Canadian defence.
And Medell again with another score. But is it another score that will be good enough in a match here against this Japanese side, who have just altered their tactics and equally having a peak performance from their top 2 players? Again, the passing sequence is perfectly delivered, and it's Ike who scores an 18th as they just are back and forth. These 2 scores, they turn it over, and Japan are really putting the pressure. They're turning the screw on the Canadians here. Medell getting frustrated, and he just direct line comes across to lay into Ike, but they will now start to play this game management role. They do it so well. Down low to Norimatsu, but he gets away from him. So a little bit of a let-off for the Canadians.
Yeah, Norimatsu has a couple of goals in the bronze medal game so far, but just the slip from Ikazaki too far away from Noramatsu, and as soon as it left Ikazaki's hand, you thought this could be a difficult finish for the Japanese. What they've done really well today, though, they've had more options than the Canadians, and now, when the pressure's telling, they're the ones that are working the game better. They're managing, as you say, the game better. That man is obviously saying the right words on the bench.
He's kept pretty calm throughout this tournament, and they all know coming into it with these top 8 teams in the world where likely the tournament's going to be won and lost, where they expect to be able to finish. And both of these teams would, of course, love to have been in the gold medal match. But as it goes on and they take on the top teams in this tournament, they probably all know inside where they have performed at.
You have to, looking at the game, you have to feel that Kevin Orr is an option short for Canada. They haven't, the Japanese have another option to come on apart from their 2 main players. Canada, they've got this man, 35 points now. But then you look through it, Michael Whitehead's got 5, another player's 1 and 2. There's not enough other options for them.
It's Noramatsu into Ike. Caldwell comes across to be the first threat to put pressure, but Ikazaki, again with that signature and distinctive style. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got equally some flair, and you see him indicating to his bench, listen, I got this one, boys. We're across the line, and that's his 18th goal.
Yeah, Cody Caldwell couldn't get across enough to stop him. Zakawa, well, he sighs once more, but for different reasons, I think, this time. It's almost the disbelief of what they could well be about to do as Adele just gets some mechanical assistance on his chair.
1:36 remains in this bronze medal match in the 4th period. There could be more if something miraculous happens from here, but at this distance, Japan have proven themselves in this sport to be on a upward trend. And this might be their moment where they finally break into the podium hopes. It's going to be Caldwell who picks up the leftovers there. He puts it on the shelf and calls a timeout with 1:27 for Canada.
Well, the Canadians need some magic here. They need some creativity. The man you have to look to is Medel. It's been absolutely unbelievable for them today. But Japan, no doubt, will keep that defensive line tight and make it as difficult as they can. All they need to do is stay 1 ahead. They can afford potentially 1 slip-up, really. Only 1:27 left to go. They won't want to slip up, obviously. They will want to stretch ahead further. As we see the number 15, Patrice Simard. He's got himself on the scoreboard today with a couple, averaging 4.3 goals per game.
No Whitehead out there as Medel will just ram into Kishi, and he will get credit for the 49th goal, or Canada will. Officially, it'll be seen as a team goal, that one. It's irrelevant from here. Canada have it within 2, but Whitehead is on the sideline. It's Simard out there with Hirschfield and Caldwell. A changing of the guard a little bit for Canada with this distribution of floor time. It's into Ike. They've got an anchor on him. They are making life difficult over at Ikazaki. And at the center line, if they could force it over and back, but it's Ike. He does the quick spin move, and he's brought about Medel and a foul on the play.
You felt that Hirschfield really over pushed the defense against Ike, which brought Medel in, and Medel was forced to make the foul. But good defense from the Canadians, because they kept Japan in their backcourt for much longer than they have in this game so far. There.
It's Medel calling for some technical support. He needs an adjustment, but it's all about Japan from here. As again, Ikazaki is just toweling off the sweat and perspiration from what has been his best game of the tournament. Might not have been his overall goals. He averages in a match 22 per game. He has 18 right now, but he has been pretty much perfect today for Japan. On both sides of the ball, as Medel will get his tires changed, and he will sit down for what will be less than a minute in that penalty box waiting.
How long can Japan keep him out of the game?
It is a trade-off from this distance, whether or not you want the goal or whether or not you want to take the time. They should be able to. Japan squeeze the life out of this Canadian hope right now on the floor. It's Beletsky, it's Hirschfield, and now Whitehead out there as the three players. But they are just moving in time and seeing what could have been a medal hope start to evaporate right in front of their eyes. It is, in fact, a timeout called by Japan, and it will leave Medel still watching, and he's going to have to probably watch this one for the remaining 21.1, as they will get 15 more seconds. We'll see officially what they have on the actual scoring clock, but Japan are putting on a real well-crafted finish to this match.
Well, it's a bit of a taste of his own medicine for Medel. He did this to the Japanese earlier in the game, and now they're just saying, well, you can now sit and watch whilst we wrap up the bronze. A historic day for Japanese wheelchair rugby. A fantastic day for them, and you have to say they've deserved it.
They have been strong. They have been the cleaner of the two sides as far as overall ball maintenance. You see they've got just 10 seconds officially on their scoring clock. They'll be glad to score it. Out comes Medel. He'll get a chance now with just over 13 seconds to be involved in it. But it is really just details, as this will go up, and it will, in fact, be last touched by the Japanese. And Canada will utilize a substitution. In comes Wilsey, the veteran of the side, as well for Chan. They get some late duty in this one at the end of these games in Rio, and they're a moment for them equally to remember in their Paralympic careers. But it's Whitehead who will take the receipt of the ball. He'll score, take it to a half century for Canada. But with 3.9, Japan are about to take a bronze medal, their first ever in a Paralympic Games competition, and things slow down a little bit. They'll have to wait.
The Japanese fans are bouncing. What a day for them.
And it's contact on the arm, and the expression on Kevin Orr's face, it says it all. I think he is equally on the cusp of emotion there too. And every story a different one that gets to these moments, as they are totally synchronized on that Japanese bench, awaiting respectfully for another 0.7 of a second to expire.
As Norimatsu was waiting to inbound the ball there, he nearly had his wheel changed, but didn't need it. They ran over to him and he said, no, it's not me that needs the new wheel. What an achievement for these guys. What an achievement for the coach. Koichi Ojino. Although you wouldn't know it at the moment, the bench is completely stony-faced. They haven't won it yet.
It's the inbound, and it's the Ikazaki, and in doing so, Japan in the wheelchair rugby are going to take their first ever medal at the Paralympic Games. It's going to be a bronze against the reigning silver medalist from London, and it's a moment in history for this sport as it grows and the dominance starts to spread around the globe. You see what it means to Ikazaki. He had his best team game of the performance, and he with his running mate Ike, they get it done when it matters most. It'll be the bronze medal to Japan, 52-50 over Canada, and Canada have medaled in this competition every single time except for against, well, it was in Sydney that they didn't. And the emotion, what a moment in time for both these teams for different reasons. It's elation for Japan and despair for the Canadians. Watch it unfold.
Well, Japanese rugby really is on fire at the moment. The 2015 was a magic year for Japanese Rugby Union. 2016, a magic year for wheelchair rugby. This is such emotional times for the Japanese. The Canadians will be feeling emotional, but for different reasons. Japan have snatched the bronze, their first ever medal. You've got to feel sorry for the likes of Beletsky. The 27-year-old, the only female player on the court. She won't go away from Rio with a medal. The Canadians leave the Paralympic Games for the first time since Sydney with nothing around their necks.
And we have seen it in these lines where they have shaken hands at the end of the match. The respect and also the regard for the dominant nations in this tournament. The Japanese were the better team today, and they could hardly wait for the expiry of 32 minutes. It has been a journey. They finished 4th in London 4 years ago. They will finish 1 better in Rio, and a medal for the first time ever in this competition. And the first thing that the Canadians do, it's an acknowledgement of a cheer for Japan. And that is the spirit of this Paralympic Games, and equally in this sport. They have
the level of respect.
It is. It is entirely that, as the respect for their own fans and family that have been here, and these Brazilians who have come out to support it. Zach Medell, who always seems to take things a little bit with a grain of salt. He will put this into perspective, and he'll know as a leader that they need to find an answer in which to get back onto the medal podium. As although he carried the load individually for Canada, he will want to, of course, become a winner again. And you will see a bright future. He'll be back.
We can all see how talented he is, but what he will also know as well in the back of his mind, with plenty more time in his career to go and win medals, is he just needs that extra bit of support. They need to find those other options, which Japan had. The likes of Ike there in the number 21 shirt. Japan taking home the medal and the match ball.
Shimakawa, of course, a part of the side back to 2004 when they first start participating at these Paralympic Games in wheelchair rugby. A moment for him as he looks on. And we look in. A sacred moment where they consolidate what has been their last 4-year journey.
Those statistics. Goal average 21.4, turnover average just 1.8, and motion etched on his face, and who can blame him? The Japanese have just took the game by the scruff of the neck as well. In the important moments of the games, they had more players who were capable of doing the right things, and you see the leading scorers there.
Remember the Japanese in that last matchup against the Americans, who are already in the gold medal match. They will take on Australia. They had an extra time defeat against the Americans, and it looked as though they had done enough themselves, even in regulation. The Americans found a way to win that one, but they're the story of the stats in this one. 7 steals, no steals for the Canadians in this matchup. It's the bronze to Japan. The first ever medal goes to the Asians in wheelchair rugby. In this, the 5th tournament of this particular sport at the Paralympic Games level. They deserved it. They were the best in this matchup, and they go away from Rio with a smile for sure. They have set history in this sport. Number 3 and number 4 in the world of wheelchair rugby meet for the first time in these Paralympic Games in Rio, and they meet in the bronze medal match. But it is Japan, who have never medaled in this tournament, that will go away with the bronze. They win over Canada by a score of 52-50, and they do it in style. They were the better side, and what a moment it is. History is made by Japan.